KUAM News Headlines is presented by Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust, serving Micronesia since 1938. Matson and the Adahi Itano program. Cars Plus, kick off our holidays by supporting the Make-A-Wish Jingle Rock Virtual Run. Visit the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Guam and CNMI Facebook page for details. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it, and King's Restaurant, always open, always local, and serving up favorites for over 40 years.
Ahead on primetime, over 72% of the Guam Memorial Hospital's frontliners are set to receive the Pfizer vaccine. Plus, Dr. Felix Cabrera goes over the pros and cons of receiving the COVID-19 vaccination. Adriana Cotero has the story. And our island lawmakers passed several bills during session last night, including controversial Bill 368.
Hafa and good evening. Almost 100 frontline workers, or roughly 73% over at the Guam Memorial Hospital, were given some peace of mind as vaccinations begin over at Guam's only public hospital. Here's more.
Since the first COVID hospitalization, the frontliners over at the Guam Memorial Hospital have put their lives on the line and have continued to do so every day since. Now, with the first round of vaccines being distributed, GMH has started their in-house vaccinations. GMH's William Cando.
I was vaccinated yesterday. Yes, ma'am. I was with a group of 5, the first 5 that got vaccinated at GMH. So I was with it was me, Don Robinall, is the Assistant Administrator of Admin Services. Dr. Uggan was with us. There was a nurse with us, and there was one other, Dr. Prince.
The hospital authority received an initial allotment of 200 doses of the Pfizer vaccine. According to Cando, they'll be receiving the vaccine little by little, primarily due to storage concerns.
We'll just get small batches, and that way we don't exceed once we get that batch, they go into our pharmacy refrigerator, and we have to administer them within 5 days. So we don't want to get too many from public health. We're doing a little at a time, but we're doing them, of course, as expeditiously as we can.
Approximately 72% of the staff at GMH are willing and wanting to receive the vaccine, which Cando says is not mandatory. As far as any side effects from the vaccine, at least in Cando's case.
Me personally, I had no side effects. I mean, not even soreness at the site of the vaccination, no dizziness, no fever, and so I'm just feeling very grateful, confident.
And with all that the Guam Memorial Hospital has been through this year, Cando says the vaccine might just be that silver lining they've been hoping for.
This is another tool in our arsenal to fight this virus, and so that light at the end of the tunnel is becoming a little more brighter every day.
The vaccine clinic doors are officially up and running. According to Public Health spokeswoman Janela Carrera, yesterday, Department of Public Health administered 275 vaccines. Guam Memorial Hospital reported 50 vaccinations, and Guam Regional Medical City vaccinated 125 healthcare personnel. Right after closing the clinic today, Carrera tells KUAM that the flow was a lot smoother, having additional help from the governor's office and more National Guardsmen and women to assist. As for any side effects, Carrera says 2 females and 1 male experienced adverse reactions to the vaccine.
One did report an allergic reaction, and so we did have to administer epinephrine, and the woman was taken to the emergency room. And then we had another woman who reported she had a history of hypertension, and so she was closely monitored by our physician here on staff. But after being closely monitored, she was okay. She felt fine after about maybe 30 minutes of being closely monitored. But again, we did have one who did have an allergic reaction.
Carrera was unable to provide an update on the status of the woman who had an allergic reaction. The woman was transported by medics to Guam Regional Medical City. As for the man, Carrera says he reported chest tightness and refused any further medical care. She adds that all cases will be reported to the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System. Clinic doors reopen tomorrow morning from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Phase 1A category to know that they can just go ahead and proceed here. They don't need to be listed in any kind of pre-registration or call ahead of time if they are under that Phase 1A category. So if they're healthcare personnel, they have some kind of direct or indirect exposure to COVID-19.
Again, if you are a healthcare professional, you do not need to register. Bring your ID or employee badge to check in at the clinic. Also being administered the first doses of the Pfizer vaccinations are members from the Guam Fire Department. About 165 GFD personnel have volunteered for the COVID vaccination. Broken down into two tiers, Tier 1 is comprised of personnel who have direct contact with COVID patients, which includes COVID transport, ambulance rescue, engine, advanced life support, and decontamination units. Tier 2 are those who may have indirect contact with COVID patients or essential employees working in confined spaces such as E911 dispatchers and staff from the command, training, and fire prevention. Yesterday, 94 personnel were vaccinated. GFD Fire Chief Dan Stone was on the link this morning to give us an update.
So the majority of the 94 that were tested yesterday are from the fire stations and the different bureaus. But 9 of those as well were actually our 911 dispatchers as well. Because as you recall, in the past, we've had instances where we've had close contacts in the 911 center, given the very close spaces that they have. And so the ask was to include them in that vaccination, and public health has been very good about acknowledging their importance to the emergency response, because they are the first link of our emergency response.
And 10 months into the pandemic, with the department remaining busy, what does he think about the department's morale, especially as we prepare to head into the new year?
Station 9.
I would like to say that the majority of the morale is very high, very dedicated and committed to win this fight against COVID. And we're going to continue to lean forward and do what we can to be able to service our community.
36 GFD personnel were vaccinated today, and the remaining are expected to receive their first dose of vaccination tomorrow and on Monday, to include Chief Stone. Dr. Felix Cabrera with the Governor's Physicians Advisory Group received the COVID-19 vaccine, which was administered by Governor Lulian Guerrero herself, who is a licensed registered nurse. Now a day later, and Dr. Cabrera reports no side effects and details to KUAM the pros and cons of the COVID vaccine. KUAM's Adriana Cotero reports.
The COVID-19 Pfizer vaccine, it's been the subject line in many search engines, and according to the doctors, this also comes with misinformation.
And we want to make sure that people have the right information to make the best informed decision for themselves. And that's important. But what's even more important is to understand that your decision affects everybody else as well. Because yes, the risk is not zero in taking the vaccine, but the benefits are tremendous.
And one tremendous benefit, according to Dr. Felix Cabrera with the Governor's Physicians Advisory Group, is the opportunity to save lives.
It's rarely a vaccine that comes along that where you can say, I took that vaccine to save lives, to save other people's lives that I don't even know their names.
However, Dr. Cabrera tells KUAM this vaccine does come with legitimate reasons of why some people should not get the injection just yet.
What do you need to know? Are you pregnant or planning to be pregnant? Are you breastfeeding or planning to breastfeed? So those two, right now it's for 16 years and older. And again, it's just because there hasn't been enough studies in the younger.
As for studying side effects, according to Dr. Cabrera, they are resulting from the second dosage.
So side effects. So I'll admit one that I'm having right now. I'm a little sore. And just about every single vaccine I've gotten a little sore. What we know is that, especially with the Pfizer vaccine, this first one, is that after the second dose, about 4% of people who get this vaccine have fatigue, and in some cases classified as severe fatigue.
He adds that after the second dose, about 2% report headaches, but says side effects are often a good sign.
You actually want some of this because it means your body's actually responding. It's actually going to work. These are side effects that we can write out very, in 1 to 2 days. That's not gonna, cause you to. It's not lifelong side effects. It's not something that we should be really afraid of.
Although something certain individuals do need to worry about.
What we worry about is, at least right now, at least early, is that people who have a history of anaphylactic shock, like if they get a bee sting and then they almost die and they need that EpiPen to stab into, like those people are already very susceptible to any foreign item that goes into them and causes that reaction.
If this is the case, it is crucial to consult with your doctor prior to determine if you are a vaccine candidate. We should also note the COVID-19 vaccine does not mean you will not contract the virus and transmit it.
The thing is that even after the first vaccine, your risk of getting COVID actually drops, a fair amount. In fact, now we're thinking even 50%. By the time you get your second vaccine, a week after that, the risk of getting COVID is now dropped down to about 5%, but that is still not 0%.
And what is 100% definite? To continue washing your hands, wearing a mask, and watching your distance. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Adriana Cotero.
Starting their career in the midst of a pandemic, 24 nursing assistants have officially become certified and hired in Guam hospitals. Prior to the state of emergency, Guam experienced a shortage of nurses, and the need for medical assistance has only heightened this year. For that reason, in October, the Guam Nursing Association met with Health Services of the Pacific, the Guam Memorial Hospital, and Guam Regional Medical City, and it was revealed that the island has a combined shortage of 55 CNAs. The association acted fast and created a short course of a one-week online training program through the University of Guam. Guam Nursing Association Dean Margaret Hattori Uchima.
In a matter of a week, we were able to get them trained and out, and the hospitals and HSP hired them. We're very happy that it was really, I have to say, it was really a collaboration. And, this really shows the spirit of our healthcare infrastructure.
12 of the new nursing aides are at Guam Memorial Hospital, 10 at Guam Regional Medical City, and 2 at Health Services of the Pacific. Another class of 30 students will begin the program through Guam Community College. As for the latest numbers, according to the Joint Information Center, they report 15 out of 523 test samples from various labs tested positive for COVID-19. No new cases were identified through contact tracing. 2 cases reported recent travel history and were identified in quarantine. This brings the total amount of officially reported cases of the virus on Guam to 7,183, with 484 in active isolation. 30 people are currently hospitalized with the virus, with 9 under ICU care and 6 receiving ventilator support. The COVID area risk score is 1.7. Over in Saipan, 2 individuals have been confirmed positive for COVID-19. This brings our CNMI total to 115 cases since March 28th. The individuals were identified by travel screening and confirmed diagnosis through testing upon arrival and 5th-day testing. The individuals are in quarantine and were moved to the designated isolation area for close monitoring. The CHCC has already initiated contact tracing for most immediate contacts of the new confirmed cases, including passengers on the same flight. We've done a great job at keeping our CAR score low, and it looks like the PAG will be looking into possibly lifting even more restrictions. Here's more.
We've been encouraged to strive for a CAR score of 5 and below, and in exchange, Governor Lulian Guerrero would be inclined to lift certain public health restrictions in time for Christmas. Together, we've managed to keep that CAR score well below 5 consistently. Now, Dr. Hoa Wen of the Physicians Advisory Group says they're looking into other restrictions they'd feel comfortable lifting, starting with the youth.
I think the one that people want the most is to have open door sports for kids. The kids are stay at home for so long already. And they need to kind of expand their energy by playing soccer, and every outdoor sport should be okay for the kids. Like I said, they have no school and they've been staying at home now for so long, and I think that outdoor sports should be allowed. So we're going to ask to see if we can do that.
Another possible restriction under consideration of being lifted would give a breath of fresh air to an industry struggling to find ways to make ends meet.
In dining from the restaurant. Actually, there's no, I don't know, we keep asking any data for any in dining. I don't think we have any, the crust situation is a totally different thing, but in dining in Guam, the restaurant do a wonderful job in all their on the procedure and guideline. That I don't think we have one report case of in-dining restaurant infection.
As far as the PAG's stance on face-to-face education in the coming year, Dr. Wen says it's dependent on the positivity rate following the upcoming holidays. But he is on board with getting our kids back in the classroom.
I think planning should start, a kid need to have an option to do face-to-face education. And again, the school are doing a very good job. A lot of them are doing a very good job and put a lot of guidelines together. You can see the Dodea school, they have been open now for a month or more, and there's no infection rate there.
And to combat misinformation about the vaccines, Dr. Wen says now's not the time to be complacent.
Get your immunization doesn't mean that you drop your 3W. You know, you still can get infection with the immunization, but hopefully the severity of the illness is not as severe. We still need to protect ourselves by wearing your mask, wash your hands, and social distance.
When FEMA first arrived on Guam, their top priority was to push out as many PPEs to the people as possible. In total, they've provided 300,000 N95 masks, 4.4 million surgical masks, 34 ventilators, 188,000 face shields, and 33,000 coveralls and biohazard bags. In addition, FEMA also received and transported 2 federal medical stations deployed by the Department of Public Health and Human Services. FEMA's Frank Mansell.
It is a series of 48 large compartmentalized boxes, and they contain a cot, medical stands for IV units, and everything else that's needed for emergency care immediately.
Even though FEMA is no longer on island, Mansell assures that they still have their people assisting us through public assistance projects. To date, they have a total of 39 projects from GovGuam that are being reviewed with a total of potential value of $18.9 million. So far, 6 projects have been awarded $13.7 million for PPEs, security services, and overtime services. Of the $13.7 million awarded, GMH received $11.5 million to convert the facility and increase its ICU capacity. A couple mission assignments FEMA is currently working on include procuring freezers for Guam's COVID vaccines, as well as telehealth internists, which would allow access to doctors and specialists who provide online medical treatment. Congress appears to be on the verge of passing a new pandemic relief measure, but there are more troubling signs about COVID-19's effect on the economy. Michael George reports from Wilmington, Delaware.
Lawmakers on Capitol Hill are said to be nearing an agreement on a new coronavirus relief bill.
We have a responsibility to get this right. People's lives depend upon it.
It's been 5 months since Congress passed the last COVID spending package. Now they're under pressure to get something done soon.
I don't have nothing. I don't have a job. I don't have nothing. I have 5 kids.
Hundreds of people lined up in Miami just for a chance to receive a free supermarket gift card. Last week, some 885,000 Americans filed new unemployment claims. That number rising for the second straight week to a level not seen since September.
The American people wait for more emergency assistance ought to be over.
The Senate bill includes a $300 weekly federal unemployment benefit for 4 months. The roughly $908 billion measure would put money in most Americans' pockets in the form of a stimulus check of up to $700. The bill also contains rental assistance, food assistance, money for schools and vaccine distribution, and $300 billion in aid for small businesses.
Here in Wilmington, Delaware, President-elect Biden said he's encouraged by what he's hearing about the bill.
In the meantime, the incoming administration continues to take shape. CBS News has learned that Biden plans to nominate Michael Regan to lead the Environmental Protection Agency. The 44-year-old has been North Carolina's top environmental official since 2017. If confirmed, Regan will become the first black man to run the EPA. Michael George, CBS News, Wilmington, Delaware.
Stick around for more news here on Primetime.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
Social distancing may be the new norm, but connection will always be our tradition. Through good times and tough times, we remain connected with you. Masks may be the new fashion, but protection will always be our style. You can always count on us to protect the things that matter the most. Sanitizing may be the new routine, but caring will always be our practice. We care about your loved ones and the things you value the most. And as we welcome our new normal, one thing remains certain: we will always be here for you. We're open and ready to serve you. Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust.
It makes myself and it makes my team members very proud to work for an organization that has been on island for many years with its focus on reliability, dependability, and commitment to the communities that they operate in.
Matson's a great corporate citizen to the community.
We all benefit from any sort of environmental commitment we make. One of the ways that we do that is with our Adahi Utano program. There's action behind it, and so action breeds commitment.
With the Kaimana Hila coming to Guam, this brings a new age and modernization to the island.
It's exciting for me because it's a brand new ship and we can carry more freight into the islands. It just shows growth for Guam and Micronesia.
Matson would be nothing without its customers, and we hope to continue to serve you for decades to come.
KUAM News, winner of the 2020 Regional Edward R. Murrow Award for Excellence in Social Media.
Guam Police Department traffic investigators arrested 41-year-old Raisi Rekino Ludwig in connection to a fatal crash that occurred back in February. Ludwig faces vehicular homicide, imprudent driving, no driver's license, and no seatbelt offenses. It was on February 1st, GPD's Highway Patrol Division assumed a fatal auto runoff on the roadway on Route 6 in Santa Rita near the APRA mobile gas station. As a result of the crash, 39-year-old Karami Lewis was transported to Naval Hospital Guam, where she succumbed to her injuries. Ludwig was booked and confined. Police arrested 63-year-old Fred Francisco Blas Sr. on charges of third-degree criminal sexual conduct, fourth-degree criminal sexual conduct, incest, and family violence. According to a Guam Police Department release, police at the Central Precinct Command received a complaint on December 9th, which was forwarded to the Domestic Assault Response Team. DART then executed a search warrant at a Manila home related to the investigation, where detectives seized evidence and located Blas. The case has been forwarded to the Office of the Attorney General for prosecution. Guam lawmakers passed several bills during session last night, including controversial Bill 368, which would give a private company the authority to do a job that it should be done by the Department of Revenue and Taxation. The legislation was introduced by Speaker Tina Muñoz Barnes. The measure mandates DRT contract a private company to write the rules and regulations for enforcement of the cigarette tax, stamp law, and would then give the same company enforcement authority. DRT would pay anywhere between $2 to $4 million to that company, even though Reven Tax testified that they could do their job if they were given $300,000 to hire more personnel. Meanwhile, controversial Bill 219 was removed from the voting file and instead set aside by its author, Senator Joe San Agustin. The measure would authorize the island's educational institutions, DOE, UOG, and GCC, and charter schools to procure renewable energy through a purchase or lease-backed. Bill 219 was opposed by the CCU, PUC, and GPA, arguing that it would result in increased power bills. Senators, meanwhile, passed several bills, such as Senator Regine Bisco-Lee's RISE Act, providing financial assistance to struggling families as a result of the pandemic, but excludes federal and local government employees. Today during session, Senator Jose Pito Terlahi introduced and passed an amendment relative to Bill 185, better known as the PAWS Act, to officially recognize cockfighting as a cultural practice under Guam law. Senator Terlahi's amendment passed without objection on the floor. Should the measure be passed into law, cockfighting will be preserved for both current and future cockfighters on Guam. DRT and the Department of Administration will be mailing out 831 tax refund checks this week, totaling a little over $2 million. These include refunds that were garnished to repay GovGuam debts. They are for error-free returns filed on or before June 18, 2020. Also, DRT processed 2,407 EIP program payments, totaling almost $3 million. Altogether, for the months of April through December 2020, DRT processed 85,503 EIP program payments, totaling about $145 million. This represents about 97% of the total funding received from the U.S. Treasury. Attorney General Levin Camacho has joined a bipartisan coalition of 38 attorneys general in suing Google LLC for anti-competitive conduct. The complaint was filed in the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia in conjunction with a motion to consolidate, seeking to combine the state's case with a pending U.S. Department of Justice case. The lawsuit alleges that Google illegally maintains its monopoly power over general search engines and related advertising markets through a series of anti-competitive contracts and conduct. As a result, Google has deprived consumers of competition that could lead to greater choice, innovation, and better privacy protections. The Attorney General asked the court to halt Google's illegal conduct and restore a competitive marketplace. For the full press release, check out KUAM.com. Attorney General Levin Camacho marks Guam's first elected AG to serve on the National Association of Attorneys General Executive Committee. It has been almost 2 decades since an Attorney General from a territory served on the Executive Committee. The NAAG's Executive Committee oversees the association's operations. AG Camacho is one of the 3 presidential appointments to the 12-member committee. NAAG was founded in 1907 to foster interstate cooperation on legal and law enforcement issues, conduct policy and analysis of issues, conduct training, and facilitate communication between chief legal officers and all levels of government. Members are the attorneys general of all the 50 states, the District of Columbia, American Samoa, Guam, and the Northern Mariana Islands, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. The National Weather Service says there's a high risk of rip currents, and it remains in effect for Guam, Rota, Tinian, and Saipan through Thursday night. Also, a small craft advisory remains in effect until 6 p.m. Thursday for the coastal waters as well. Winds of up to 15 to 20 knots with gusts of up to 25 knots and combined seas of up to 10 feet are expected. This combination will produce hazardous conditions to small craft. Inexperienced mariners, especially those operating small vessels, should avoid boating in these conditions. Coming up, more primetime news when we return.
Your community calendar is brought to you by Taco Bell. Whether it's your first meal or your 4th meal, we've got you covered. Taco Bell, live Más.
There are more individuals who are suffering in silence. And when they reach out to us, we want to get them the services and connect them to the resources. It takes a village to raise a child, and Ali can't do this alone.
The hotline number at the women's shelter is 648-HOPE, because, you know, we need to remind everybody that there is hope for a better tomorrow.
Welcome back. A good friend of our show is making some waves in the world of business as Beauty Camacho took a leap of faith, had a dream, believed in herself, and got down to work as a female entrepreneur. And she's sharing her story with you to let you know that if you're willing to put in the elbow grease, you can do it too.
Challenging for me in a different way, where it's like new up levels, new opportunities, and a lot of these things were stuff that I didn't even ask for, or I didn't even apply for them. So I'm just like mind blown as to like how these things are happening to me. But when I narrow things down, it really comes to my mindset and my appreciation, my gratitude for things, and even though there are some challenging and hard times, I just snap myself out of it and be like, you know what, Beauty, you got to stop thinking like that. Just like yesterday, I thought about like, I think my insurance is about to come up, you know, for my car. And dude, my battery died. And I was like, man, see, look at that. It's so fast, you know? And I was like, crap. So it's so powerful, right? Like the way that we think. And what I love about the Female Entrepreneur Association is that it's not just business. There's a lot of spirituality stuff, mindset stuff, and there are people all over the world who are joining this association. And what drew me to the Female Entrepreneur Association, it's based out of the UK, right? And that's like across the world from us, right? Mm-hmm. But I've been following them since 2013, and that's when they kind of started. So that's when I started, that's when I got my first business license too. And I just followed them on Facebook, you know, it's just another influencer type of account. Loved their graphics. That's why I followed them. Graphics were super pretty, very inspirational. And then like 3 years down the line in 2016, I attended a Women in Business conference hosted by Miss Denise Mendiola, and Michelle Rohr was there to present about her business. I sat in the front, and Michelle Rohr just explained how she's the graphic designer for the Female Entrepreneur Association. And I just got goosebumps like all over my body, because I was like, you're a girl from Guam, you're making impact some way or another over the internet, island-wide as well, and internationally. And she plays this core role in skyrocketing the Female Entrepreneur Association. And she's so humble. She rarely talks about it. So I want to make sure I show her off too. And she's just amazing. She's like been sharing her story. And recently, what made me think about contacting you guys is like, wow, you know, the founder, Carrie Green, she mentioned the island of Guam maybe 4 times during her Fearless Challenge. That's the theme that is wrapped around this this new entryway for people, for business women to enter into the Female Entrepreneur Association. I'm like, man, this is interesting, because before that, a lot of people didn't even know what Guam was.
Coming up, your birthday shout-outs from the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club. Keep it here.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
And before we close out the news tonight, our latest round of birthday shout-outs from the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club.
Happy Friday birthday on this December 18th to Frank Bernardo. Everybody's got an Uncle Frank, and this Uncle Frank blows out the candles today. Be safe and have a great day, say Stephen, Jean, and the kids. So, Uncle Frank, from all of us at KUAM, your friends at Cold Stone Creamery, and the entire Guam community, we hope you have a fantastic Friday and an amazing birthday.
Remember, you can be a part of the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club by registering online at KUAM.com. Please make sure to include with your photo your name and your birth date. And now it's that time of the week where we announce the winner of a yummy Cold Stone Creamery cake.
This week's Birthday Club winner is Damien Harlan Narcissus, who was born on December 16th. Damien, we wish you a happy extended birthday, and we'll be in touch with you to let you know how you and your family can redeem your prize and get a yummy ice cream cake from Cold Stone Creamery. Congratulations again, and happy extended. Let's do this the right way. Happy birthday once more.
That's going to do it for us here on Primetime. Thanks for watching. Good night.